Move your local business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSConnect.com/local. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day or next day delivery expected, but not guaranteed with entry close to final destination.
Nashville's first curling venue is here at T-Line Nashville. Come check out T-Line Nashville and experience the world's fastest growing winter sport today. Curling is a fun and simple sport that's a perfect outing for friends, corporate events, families, or parties. T-Line also has classic bowling and modern bowling mini games. With over 20 HD TVs, you can come watch your favorite teams and some of the best food and drinks here in Nashville in the large bar and grill area. They also have an outdoor area with a fire pit, and you can't forget the live music. T-Line Nashville is a one-stop shop for a great night out. Located at 106 Duluth Avenue and online at tlinenash.com. You can book your party now or give them a call at 615-439-1024. That's 615-439-1024. And make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook at T-Line Nash for all the news, events, and updates. T-Line Nashville. Nashville's first curling venue is here.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Everybody stay calm. Stay calm.
Let's take some calls from the public, shall we?
Join the afternoon stretch now on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Now here's Bruno and Zach.
4 o'clock here in the Music City, so you know what time it is. Time for the afternoon stretch here on Nashville Sports Radio. Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams here on this Friday edition of the afternoon stretch. August 26th. I knew it was a month with the first letter A in it, and it was one of the two, and I went with the wrong one to start off. But so glad it's Friday. So glad you're alongside us here in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. If you want to get involved, call the Cure hotline right now, 615-844-5600. Week 2 of high school football tonight, which some games were played last night on Thursdays. Got some NFL talk, got some preseason talk, got some fantasy football in the second hour. A lot of different stuff happening today. We want you to get involved, though. Once again, 615-844-5600. Bruno Reagan, welcome back. How are you doing?
What's up? Hey, first of all, Zach, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Ray, thank you for being here with me. I love you guys.
Love you too, man.
What's happening?
He's so uncomfortable right now.
This is the second time in a row that you've come on acting like you're a guest.
Yes.
I thought he was into his feelings.
This is what he's doing. He's trying to come in as a guest so that way he can make it seem like he was never actually a part of the show. And then he could just leave.
Aha.
Caught,
oh, no.
Zach has cracked
caught in 4K, caught in 8K.
He cracked the code. Zach cracked the code.
How are you doing today, Ray?
I'm okay.
Good. That's the energy we like, getting ready for Friday.
I'm just kidding. I just want to say thank you for having me here today, Zach.
There you
Bruno, I love you guys.
I'm glad.
Man.
It doesn't hit as well as Bruno's does. It doesn't hit as well as
because I
Bruno's.
live my comedy. It's like the ultimate joke, you know?
Your life
is
just one big joke?
Well,
this is starting to sound like Joker, you know, the newest version of the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix is starting to be like that. It's like, I'm starting to realize everything's a joke. You're
I don't know.
going to shoot me in the face? Is that what you're going to do? Because
no, it's not that
That's
deep.
how that movie ended.
No, it's not that deep.
Spoilers for anybody out there, by the way.
I just want to eat all the different types of pizza in the world.
What?
Really. It's the only joke I really want to do.
You haven't been here since Tuesday. Wednesday you were gone. Thursday you were at home.
But was I gone Wednesday?
Yeah.
What was I doing Wednesday? I was here.
No, you weren't here Wednesday.
This news to me.
Oh, really?
I forgot what I was doing Wednesday.
No, your car didn't break down?
Oh, yesterday was Wednesday.
No.
2 days ago was
2
Wednesday.
days ago or Wednesday.
Whatever.
Hey, man. What day is it?
Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
it's
Wednesday,
the weekend.
It's because I'm not used to skipping the show. So Wednesday,
Yeah, I know.
Wednesday I didn't do the show. I was like,
yeah,
I
you
thought-
didn't do anything
yeah.
on the show that day.
Yeah, that Wednesday did not go.
You
how I
were
expected.
coming here.
Yeah, I was exit 31, just chilling. They told me I wasn't gonna. They told me the tow truck wasn't gonna be here till 5.
Oh,
So,
that's no fun.
No, it wasn't. But then some guy came. It was like $130. I got you. You just got to go sit in the car line for my daughter. I was like, okay. So we did that.
So you picked her up, got ice cream afterwards or something like that, and then just kept it
took me
moving.
home.
Yeah, yeah. Good Wednesday. That was a good Wednesday, right?
I mean, it just was not. Yeah, that was crazy.
Now it's Friday though. Whole lot of high school action at 4:25. We're gonna have Cecil Joyce on with the Tennessean. He covers high school football here in the Mid-State in Rutherford County. Going to be talking some high school football with him. But if you want to get in on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. We want to hear from you today. There's a ton going on. A story that is continuing that we talked about, and we mentioned it at the end of the show yesterday, is the Matt Ariza. Am I saying it wrong? I think I'm saying it wrong.
No, it's
Matt Ariza?
Yeah.
Is it Matt Ariza? There's it's 3 A's in this name.
There is.
It's already tough to hear. But you would know him better by his moniker, the Punt God, as he's calling himself. And it's this story is like, you've seen more out of this, right, Ray, than what we seen yesterday.
I have. So apparently there were some stories that came out that were released after the LA Times had first originally released a statement about how, I believe Matt Ariza's criminal attorney had stated that last year or before the draft had started that the CBS Channel 8 News out in San Diego had asked him a question about if the NFL was aware of these, allegations of the rape.
Right.
And his attorney,
and just for real quick, accused of, with two others, teammates at San Diego State, of gang raping a minor.
Yes. And so the prosecutor, the defense attorney had stated, the criminal attorney had stated that he misunderstood the question, because originally he said, yes, the NFL no doubt knows about it, but the truth of factual was that he did not. He misunderstood the question, and he said that the NFL did not know it prior to the draft, and that he told the Bills afterwards. And from now, it's just like now you're starting to see more reports from the LA Times article. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It talks about what the teen had said about like the allegations. Apparently, Matt Ariza had asked her to go take a test, a sexual escapes my memory. But
like a sexual disease test or something
whatever.
like that.
And like the girl asked him, like, did we actually have sex? And he's like, in response, in the article, it says that, well, I'm Matt Ariza. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
So this is getting pretty bad pretty quickly for him.
Bruno, when you hear that story and it's going the way it is, like it's following in the guides of Deshaun Watson off that case that was just huge, obviously, with Deshaun Watson, which is now closed, 11-game suspension, all that with Deshaun Watson. Do you think a rookie is going to get any kind of leniency with this, or is this going to be another one of those things that we say just it goes off into the ether and we don't see it, or is he never going to play again?
Well, how do we come together and make our decisions, right? Who are we to? Because none of us were there and we don't know. Even if the details, we have to have a way to justly punish people, or else. You remember that linebacker for Tennessee? What was his name? Sean. We can do a different example. I remember he would always do like the machine guns. I think it was AJ.
Yeah.
He was accused, beat his case specifically and lost out his chance in the NFL because that was in his college years, in his late college years. You had Sean Oakman, same sort of thing. Had got all this hype in college, got accused of sexual assault, went to court, beat the case. So do we, and I already see a ton of people, and I get it. The emotions are in high, calling for Matt Ariza. Should he, indefinitely suspended, never play it down again, throw him in jail. Until we know the facts, is it right to punish him? Because what if we punish him and turns out it's an elaborate hoax? Now, that's not what I'm getting from this case at all. But I'm just trying to play a little bit like,
You're trying to play in the middle right now because it's still just accusations, and even though there might be some other things.
So we take his career away from him. So, say for whatever reason it comes back and there's evidence claiming, proving the stories otherwise. Are we right in taking this young man's career away? Maybe we are.
Yeah, I wanted to add a few more context to this
go
story.
ahead.
So apparently, this is actually by the LA Journal. San Diego State football players alleged, of course, raped a 17-year-old girl at a party 9 months ago. Student athletes anonymously reported the claims, but SDSU didn't investigate at the police request. Now 18, that's where the young woman's telling the story. Now, the Buffalo Bills have actually commented on this. They said, due to the serious nature of the complaint, we conducted a thorough examination of this matter. As this is an ongoing civil case, we will have no other comment at this point. So they're, of course, like, and you hear all through Twitter and you see all through the social media streams, they want to hear her side, his side, and then somewhere between that is the truth, right? So,
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Once again, you get somebody like this, such a high profile punter. First off, let's separate everything else. The guy's just a punter, but he's like known to be this up and coming new punter that's going to take the league by storm and all this different stuff. But then you get something like this. I mean, no matter what ends up happening here, whether he gets acquitted of this or he gets, or, goes under the jail, it doesn't matter. He's going to have this stain on his entire career if he stays in the NFL. And we talk about with Deshaun Watson, where we have Jacoby Brissett, who
very
just
clear
recently,
what he was saying.
Very clear that he was like, I have no trouble not being Deshaun Watson out there. I don't want to be Deshaun Watson.
Spiting him in front of the media.
Very much spiting him. That then when you get this situation, how many players on that Bills team even want to be around the guy?
Yeah.
Just because of the accusations. I'm all for you're innocent until proven guilty, right? Like, I'm all for that. But there are certain things when you start hearing, and you're just going to have an innate reaction to a person by that, just the verbiage that's in those accusations and what's happening with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the current thing is, at a minimum, apparently in the story, he admitted on a phone call with police listening that he had sex with an underage girl in college, which is already, for most people, enough evidence.
That's a big truth right there.
Yes.
So, and that's a fact. And I mean, if you're saying that's the admittance, if anything, what's going to happen here, as it does happen, I feel like with a lot of these cases, is there's going to be some, just like with Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans, it was going to be some sort of settlement.
But then what? Like, the NFL really has its hands filled with this one.
Yes. I don't know. Nah, that's why
Because
Roger Goodell makes $43 million
if the details are true, I mean, you got to throw this guy off the plank in the Atlantic Ocean,
Yeah.
You're like, walk it, bro.
Yeah.
Don't turn around. Don't look at us.
Yeah. Go.
At what point is the NFL going to really take a stand on this, right? I mean, Deshaun Watson was the opportunity.
Yesterday probably would have been a good time. Today's the best they can do. Tomorrow's probably what we'll expect, and then it'll be 6 months, and we'll hear something. So,
because if not, these stories continue to happen with future players.
Oh,
and current players.
Sorry, I mean,
players.
Just players in general, right?
Yeah.
Like the NFL,
it's never ending.
No, it's never ending. I mean, we talked about a lot of the concussion stuff yesterday with Dr. Alan Sills, the chief medical officer for the NFL. That's a problem that's still out there. You look at the NFL now with just the last. I mean, it's every year you have something like this, but this is two now pretty high-profile cases back-to-back of each other of these sort of same ballpark, if you will, of misconduct, how the NFL would put it probably. And, I mean, it's just every single day. What is the NFL going to do going forward on these kind of things? Because, look, the NFL wants – you know what the NFL wants to do? They want to collect checks and play football on Sundays – and on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, and inevitably every day of the week. That's all the NFL wants to do.
Right.
And they have to deal with this with players being out. It's getting to be such a weird situation, not even a weird situation, just a consistent problem that you're going to have to deal with players doing. I mean, like, you have the John Gruden stuff, you have the Henry Ruggs stuff, but at some point it feels like there's a culture that's inside of the NFL that is breeding this kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's the game itself or the NFL as a whole.
I don't know. I think you ask an extremely thought-provoking question. Men in a position of power are abusing their positions to try and advance, in the sexual world. Like, so it leads to those muddy waters where it's one of the, it's the same, that old saying where it's like nothing good happens past 3 a.m. If you're going to put yourself in these positions, something bad happens, that you're responsible. Yeah. And I just don't think these guys understand that. They're too caught up in their own hype. I'm the man. I can do this. I can do what I want. So yeah, it's not only is it a football culture, it's I think it's a cultural problem in general with men in positions of power. I mean, we see it all. We see it in Hollywood. We see it in colleges, frats, whatever. Sexual assault's a big issue, and especially in the coming of age time, because we don't want to have those hard conversations with people about like consent and stuff like that.
So let me ask you guys this: how much can a brand really take a hit until like eventually catches up to them?
The NFL, dude. I mean, like, it really seems like the NFL is like invincible, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's a part of it where
no one's
you look at
the NFL, and they're having
no. they have to deal with it. They'll blame them in a sense of, this is why we saw with the Deshaun Watson case that the NFL came out and they, we extended it and we made more money. So on the NFL side, they could say, well, at least we did more than what even the arbiter we brought in.
Right.
Than what she said. So you give them the benefit of the doubt of like, well, at least they did more, even though it was scummy and they're making the Texans the game coming back and there's a lot of marketing behind that's going to happen and all this stupid stuff like that. But I do think the NFL is somewhat bulletproof.
Got this invisible cloak, right? Like they just cannot get to them.
Well, they make all the money, right? They print money.
It's partially people like us are to blame too, because we're always going to talk about it because our show survives off that.
Well, this is the same. I mean, now I'm kind of jumping around to the same topic, but kind of off what we've been talking about. Is like how we look at the WNBA versus the NBA. People say that WNBA should be paid the same as the NBA, but as media, as fans, as we pay attention more to the NBA. That's why it makes more money and all this different stuff, and why it has more more money to spend on players with their individual teams, and why the WNBA is in default every year because they don't make as much money. But if we changed our rhetoric and changed our thought, if we paid more attention to the WNBA, they would make more money off of it that way. If it was more entertaining, I guess it could be entertaining to some it's not entertaining. But it's that same idea. If we didn't pay so much attention to the NFL, it wouldn't be bulletproof. It's that same like idea of just how do you coax an entire, not only just subdivision of, because news is huge, right? Sports is niche in the news market, but how do you change that whole market to just change course away from it? I don't know if you could ever do that with the NFL. It's just all the same with the WNBA. I don't know if you're ever going to be able to bring it more to the forefront into comparison with the NBA.
Yeah, it's like the NFL is like an avalanche, and we're at the point right now where it's, just unstoppable. The inertia of it, we can never be stopped. It really just feels like that.
You can just go, and because like you look at golf, right? We're talking about live all summer and everything, and that's shown up now, and it's created something that you can actually. But there's no spring football league, no XFL, USFL that's going to really rival the NFL.
I really don't even think the Saudis could.
See, I don't know if they could either.
Something. It's just the NFL is so ingrained in American culture.
Yeah, it owns a day of the week.
Yeah,
it's Sundays.
It's going to provide Ariza a job. It's going to provide Ariza a job for the forthcoming future, even when the details are coming out. He's still going to. If this happens, if someone gets accused of something like that at this station, God, I would imagine they're going to be able to come to work and look me in the eye every day. But in the NFL, you can do something that crazy, get accused of something that crazy, and show up and still work every day.
You're just you can hide behind the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, people will cheer for you and ask for your autograph.
Yeah. A lot of people's.
Because if you look at the NFL, when they're the management of this entire organization, you've got 27,000 player personalities that you have to deal with, right?
Right.
What do teams do in order to initiate to make sure things like this doesn't happen or what have you? Well, not even in the NFL ranks, more or less in the college ranks. Of course, when you get to that certain age, you know what's right from wrong.
Well,
right?
the NFL is a business, so you look at it from a cost perspective, and there's nothing you can really do to prevent these.
You could do code of conduct trainings and stuff like that. Or
but all that's a waste of money. I figured you just cut that out. From a business standpoint, I would figure they would just cut out prevention entirely and just focus on saving face costs. That's where I really think that's probably cheaper for them.
Make an example, right, of a player like who does something like this. It's just like, okay, we're.
But they're never going to do that, though. That's the whole thing, because if you do make that example, it's a negative look on the NFL. I mean, look at Deshaun Watson. How much out there could there be that this guy is a scumbag? Even the commissioner coming out and saying he's a predator, and they're like, we're going to give him 11 games. That's it. I mean, if you bet on a game, obviously Calvin Ridley, it's like indefinitely. We're going to say it's a year, but it could be forever. We don't know until we let you back in.
The 11 games, yes, but the counter argument to that is that he hasn't been proven guilty yet, and that's the thing. That's the kicker. If he's proven guilty, then yes, I think that he would be suspicious of far more than 11 games. I mean, we saw what happened to Ray Rice, right? I mean, he was pretty much out of the league after the incident with his.
And because that had a video evidence of seeing it happen.
There was no coming back from that, right?
Even but even with the wife or girlfriend,
yeah, I think fiance
coming out and saying like, it's no problem. Remember that?
Yeah,
that was crazy. She was out there campaigning to get him back in the NFL.
Yeah, that was, and that's the hardest part about what we do is like not knowing, but being forced to have an opinion on it. You know?
Yeah.
Like immediately everyone's like because he apparently admitted to having sex with her, this 17-year-old, this minor, and everyone's like throw him under the bus, throw him in jail. Normally I would be that way too, but until I don't want to take someone's secondhand source of a phone call they didn't hear to truth yet. If the police come out and say, yeah, we figured that out, or this civil case, they figure it out, then we can make that decision.
Right.
But why is this case not criminal then? If it's so clear, it blows my mind. I don't get how we're not at that point yet.
There's a really good book for people out there to read called the System, and it's about the NCAA and these kind of cover-ups.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
It's a really good book out there where the reason why these things stay civil and they don't ever get into criminal is, it's money. The money gets passed around to cover things up and shut people up, and that's an unfortunate
It's more
truth.
profitable for the schools to just act like it's not there than to acknowledge it and deal with it.
Well, it's like what you said though too. It's like saving face costs compared to trying to prevent.
That's what SDSU was trying to do. They didn't want to do an investigation, even though the police asked them to conduct an investigation. They're like, no, we don't need to do one.
Yep.
So that's your case in point right there.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. We got a lot of that coming up. That story is going to be getting bigger and bigger every day. That came out just yesterday, right before we ended our show yesterday, and it's just going to grow and grow, and we're going to get more information on that, especially with NFL being, next week. We're starting everything next week, so a lot of that's going on. If you want to jump in, the Cure hotline wide open, 615-844-5600. When we come back, we're going to have Cecil Joyce with the Tennessean on, talk some high school football happening tonight. Of course, week 2 in the mid-state area going on. Well, all of Tennessee, I guess, is going on this week, or tonight. We got a lot of it coming up. Remember, tonight we got a ton happening tonight. We have the Murphy Fair show, the picks for Murphy Fair coming up. That'll happen at 6:15. Then it'll go into at 6:45. Joe Fisher, Greg Pogue on the call tonight. Fairview at Creekwood, correct? Fairview at Creekwood. I just had to make sure. I had to look at Ray to make sure I had that one.
I got
right.
you, man.
Fairview
I got you,
at Creekwood on that one. Going to be a good game. I mean, they're traveling all around here, too. We got a lot of good games. I've seen the schedule out there. A lot of good games coming up on that, too. And then after that game's done, you have the Mid-State Checkdown. After the Mid-State Checkdown game of the week, the Mid-State Checkdown scoreboard show with Bruno, Reagan, and Ray Dosky. Y'all's day just started.
Don't tune in unless you want to get absolutely mogged over airwaves.
Exactly, that's what Bruno does, and Ray every Friday night.
More Bruno
Ray
than
wears
me.
super tight shirts, and I bring the mask, baby.
All right, we need to go to a break. If you want to jump in, once again, 615-844-5600.
Good afternoon. Quite busy, actually, on 65 southbound as we check it out live now. Headed down through Williamson County into Brentwood, Franklin. It's pretty typical for a Friday out here on I-40 through Dixon County. A little bit of radar around 840. I-40 also on the increased eastbound, trying to get through Wilson County there around the Lebanon area. It's got a little bit of radar earlier. Hey, Ripley's is hiring for all 10 attractions. Check them out online at ripleys.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply. If you are a man over 40, listen up, because this could impact how much you're getting done during the day and at night. The harsh reality is, once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. Here's the good news. Nugenix, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC, has changed the game again for men over 40 with Nugenix Total T. And guys all over America are raving about it. Jeremy P. says, this is the best product I found to raise T levels. And how about Shane D.? He says, I had no drive and was tanked out at the end of the day. After 3 months, my energy level is through the roof. I work out like most 19-year-olds. I am 47. Guys over 40, you need Nugenix Total T. And right now, you can get a complimentary bottle. Just text BEACH to 321-321. It's the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary bottle by texting BEACH to 321-321. That's BEACH to 321-321. Text BEACH to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
What's up, Nashville? It's Ray from Run With It. Let me tell you about my good friends over at Red Rose Hype Shop. If you're looking to upgrade your closet with the flyest streetwear and brands like Yeezys, Jordans, Supremes, and much more, go see my friends at Red Rose Hype Shop, the hottest place in Nashville where you can buy, sell, trade, and even consign your gear. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram by searching at Red Rose Hype Shop. You can also visit them at 1187 Antioch Pike, Nashville. They're open from noon to 6 Tuesday through Saturday and 12:30 to 5 on Sundays. And be sure to tell them that Ray sent you. Thank you.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
5-state forecast. Your exclusive national sports radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. This afternoon, sunshine with a shower, thunderstorm in spots, a high 90. Slightest chance for a thunderstorm this evening, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 70. Saturday, partly sunny with a chance for a shower, a thunderstorm. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Renaud. Sports Radio, WNSR.
The afternoon stretch. Eventually, they'll have music beds for men.
Welcome back to the afternoon stretch. Bruno, Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams. Right as we went to that break, got done talking about the Matt Ariza story. Adam Schefter just tweeted out he will not be in the preseason game tonight going up against Carolina. He will not be playing tonight. So
They got his suspension instantly. Deshaun Watson took a few months. This one, they said.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's just keeping him away or, just because of the situation. I'm not sure. But that story going to continue to grow, and we'll learn more about everything going on there. Let's switch it up here a little bit. Still some football happening in our conversations, but it's going to be on the local level. Got Cecil Joyce. He covers high school sports for USA Today Network, and we are so excited to have him on. You can follow him on Twitter at Cecil_Joyce on Twitter. Cecil, thank you so much for taking some time to talk some high school football.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're week 2 now. I'm so glad we're done with the week 0 stuff, but we're in week 2, and I asked this question last week to someone else, and because I work in high school football, everybody on the show now works in high school football, and it's such a little economy and it's such a community all in its own. For you, Cecil, what is it that really drives you about covering high school athletics and then more specifically high school football?
Well, it's the passion involved, the passion from the parents and the fans, the big student bodies that support their own schools. And, there's just a lot of heart and soul that goes into high school football. I think it's the purest level of football there is.
I agree with it. Really, it's the last one, right? Because you got college football now with NIL. They're making tons of money going forward here, and NFL has been making tons of money. Eventually, right. I guess we'll have high school football players making money too.
Yeah, that's probably not too far off of the horizon, to be honest. I think the transfer portal is probably more of a thing in high school football now than I think people understand or want to realize.
That's how I know you both are from Tennessee, Go to Texas. You think Kyler Murray wasn't getting paid 15 years old, 14?
You got a good point
I'm sure they're paying.
Yes.
So. If anything, Tennessee will just catch up in the culture.
Yeah, probably. Well, let's talk about a team that some people can maybe say they pay because they always are so strong.
Yep. Get to it.
Oakland High School, of course. We were talking beforehand, Cecil, that you're going to be out there at Oakland tonight taking on Madison Ridgeland. And I was there last week for Hendersonville as I do the play-by-play for Hendersonville High School. Oakland just seems like the train that's never going to stop.
Well, it's hard to say a team will just never stop. Riverdale did the same thing, and throughout the '90s and most of the 2000s, and then Oakland kind of took over about 6-7 years ago, right around the time Kevin Creasy took over. And it's a combination of a lot of things. They have a good talent pool over in that area of town. They have obviously had some pretty good transfers come in, and a lot of people will like to get on them about the transfer thing, but it's like shovable basketball from 2 or 3 decades ago. When Rick Ansel was there, when you're a good program and people are wanting to go somewhere else, they look at you because you're a good program. You win games, you have good coaching, and but the coaching staff at Oakland has been remarkable, over the past several years. And of course, they lost Steven Jackson, their defense coordinator. He's now the head coach at Gordonsville. In the off season, but they've replaced him with some good quality guys. They replaced a couple of other assistants they lost with some good quality guys, and it all starts at the top with Coach Creasy. And he's he has this program like a well-oiled machine right now. So they basically plugged in new players this year to replace a lot of graduates, and at least last week, they looked apart.
And losing someone like Jordan James last year, but then now his brother Khalil James there, when you see what Oakland is, do you feel like already it seems like the 6A title is already in their hands, even this early on?
Well, I think Coach Crease would be the first to say, well, wait a minute, let's not, jump the gun on that. I mean, there's still Maryville in the way. There's still some, very tough region foes in their way. I mean, Blackman, has a lot of offensive talent, a lot of Division I commitments. You got Riverdale with still a very, very strong defense in that region. It's not going to be an easy road for Oakland, and there's still a lot of improvement to do with a lot of these young guys. But, obviously, they're the odds-on favorite in this area, at least, to get to the state semis and maybe face a Maryville. It's just, again, it's a well-oiled machine, and there's a lot of talent, a lot of speed on that team. It's just a matter of those guys getting experience and cleaning up mistakes they're going to make early in the season.
Talking with Cecil Joyce, covers high school football here and high school sports for USA Today. Bruno Reagan, say what's up, Cecil.
Cecil, what's up? So, Cecil, we're looking at Oakland schedule-wise. Who would be maybe the most competitive team on their schedule? Maybe a CPA and away out of district kind of game, or a Blackman or Ravenwood. Who's got the best chance at knocking these guys off this year?
Well, I think some of the ones you mentioned all have a solid chance. Again, CPA in Oakland was a great game last year. I don't think CPA is quite the power it was last year. Of course, Oakland isn't either. So being on the road, that's going to be a tough game for them. Ravenwood, I think, was our consensus pick to win that region over there in Williamson County. So that's going to be a very difficult matchup for them. And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Riverdale, with the defense they've got, I mean, they're capable of beating anybody. They're capable of shutting down anybody. So that makes them dangerous. And then kind of on the opposite flip side, Blackman's got such a good offense. They're capable of putting up a lot of points on anybody they play. So those four teams really stand out to me. But, Oakland's got a pretty tough schedule. I mean, there's a couple of teams they had to schedule because they just tried to fill 10 games in. But for the most part, that's a very tough schedule.
I'm glad you mentioned Riverdale, because actually that's next week where our live show will go, our mid-state checkdown show, and I'll be covering it. So tell me more about Riverdale and this defense. Where are they strongest? Is it the D-line, linebacker, secondary? Do they have any individual studs that stand out that, might give these guys at Oakland a run for their money?
It's that front that you mentioned. They have the number one ranked player in the state, Caleb Herring, still there. The Tennessee commitment, outstanding player, 6'5", about 210, 220. And he has all the tools and all the physicality to live up to the hype he's been given. And, last year they lost some really good players off of last year's team, including, Caleb's brother Elijah, who's now at Tennessee, and Alex Mitchell, a linebacker. But they've got plenty of guys back. They've got a couple of transfers in that kind of helped build up the secondary a little bit. So, there's some good players on this defense, and Caleb is where it starts.
Talking with Cecil Joyce. Follow him on Twitter at Cecil_Joyce. Cecil, what is it about Rutherford County? Because, I obviously doing the Hendersonville, I went to Hendersonville High, seen this for a long time that, even when I was in high school, there's times where you just had those Rutherford County teams that were just so dominant. And it seems like every year they just get a little bit stronger and stronger. Is it just like an ironing, sharpening iron kind of situation?
Water.
It's the water. I mean, what is going on over there?
Well, I had a buddy of mine that always says it's whatever they're putting in the chicken nuggets. But honestly,
I need to get over there.
It's just that Murfreesboro has gotten so big. I mean, it's basically got the advantages of a very huge population without the disadvantages, the larger inner cities face with trying to get players to come out and players to stick around and play football for you. So you got that combination there. And I mentioned the transfer. I mean, the top three teams in Murfreesboro, Riverdale, Blackman, and Oakland, they've all taken advantage of transfers that have come in, players that didn't really want to stay at the school they were at. They had reasons to move, or parents wanted to move for job purposes or whatever. But, all three of those have all taken advantage of transfers. So that helps. But, I mean, there's just so many kids in Murfreesboro, so many athletes. It's just, there's a lot to spread around.
It seems like it, because every year, I mean, especially with Hendersonville being going for a 4-peat now for their, and you covered Hendersonville and Sumner County as well, so you've been around there. But it seems like those counties just have different views on high school football. Have you seen that? Because you had such a long time in Sumner County, and now with Rutherford County in that area, have you seen a difference between those two counties on how the schools intermingle with each other for practices or I know in Sumner County that never happens.
Right. I think it's basically just Sumner County is a more rural county. Wilson County is a more rural county. I think Williamson and Rutherford are two counties that probably they just have such a large population base of athletes. I think if you take the rural out of either one of those two counties, but again, both those counties have the advantages of being big without the disadvantages of having to worry about the issues that Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, Chattanooga has to worry about. So, at one point that may catch up with them, but right now they're taking all the advantages of just having a large population base. And there's just so many athletes roaming through both of those counties.
So I know you're going to be at Oakland tonight with that game. What other game is kind of on your docket that you're going to be keeping an eye out on the phones?
I think Gallatin at Blackman is going to be a very good game. Gallatin, of course, reached, I believe, the second round of the playoffs last year and had a really good team and has a really good team back this year. They had a really big win against Mount Juliet last week, and Mount Juliet's, no pushover by any stretch. So it's going to be a really tough test for Blackman. Blackman had a weird contest in week one. Everybody expected to kind of a blowout, not blowout, but a high-scoring game with Brentwood, and it turns out it was 23-14. I think that's probably the fewest points Blackman has allowed in a while, but yet they only mustered 14, which was a really shock, considering they averaged 37 points a game last year and returned all their top offensive weapons and added Jacob Page, an insert transfer, to the bench. So it'll be interesting to see how Blackman rebounds from that game and, see how Gallatin does against that offense, that quick-paced, high-powered offense. And
last week you were covering Smyrna. Smyrna, of course, getting that win. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on with Smyrna.
Smyrna's an interesting team. They've had some issues over the past 2 weeks, but they've overcome those with big plays and a lot of turnovers. I think they forced 8 turnovers in their first 2 games. 5 turnovers they forced last night against Rockville in a 33-12 win. They have a junior defensive back, Thomas Jones, who's having an outstanding year so far. He had an interception last week in their win against Stewart's Creek, and last night he had 2 pick sixes. One went for 48 yards, one went for 42 yards. So, they're being very opportunistic right now. Their defense is playing bend but don't break, and the offense is not bad. They have Arian Carter, a running back, who's actually a Memphis linebacker commitment, and they have a defensive lineman who's a Memphis commitment as well in Jaden Marable. So Smyrna's got some pieces to do some damage there. They've got to clean up a lot of offensive mistakes in the process. I think Smyrna's going to be a pretty good team to deal with this year.
When you mentioned your top 3, I think it was Blackman, Riverdale, Oakland, and I think you might have accidentally leaked your next one. I was going to ask you which team is kind of that next team up, that next team out of that 3-man power bubble out of Rutherford County. Is it Siegel? Did you slip on that one? Maybe they're the 4th, or what? What would be that next team up?
Siegel looked awful good in their win last week against Green Hill. Green Hill made it to the state quarters last year in 5A. So I think Siegel's on the uptick, but I would say put Rockville as maybe that 4th team you expect to make the playoffs. Rockville's not a bad team. Last night they made some mistakes that they just couldn't overcome against Smyrna, but they've got some speed. They've got a really, really, really solid defense there. And, they're coming off their first playoff appearance ever last season, so I would expect them to be probably the 4th team. I think they play Siegel next week, so that might determine that spot right there.
Cecil, I love it that you came on. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let all the folks know where they can find all your coverage and your live coverage that you'll be having tonight.
Again, it's on Twitter. You can see all of my links to my stories on Cecil_Joyce. You can go to dnj.com and catch all of my action. I'll have top performers. I'll have a roundup from the area and also a story from tonight's game.
Cecil, thank you so much, my man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Cecil Joyce has been our guest. A lot of good high school football knowledge there, crossing a long time. It's always funny. I talk to some people because I've been doing high school football here locally for not 10 plus years or anything like that, but I talked to Cecil and he's been doing it for many moons, many years in this area. Just a knowledge depth there. So go follow him on Twitter at Cecil_Joyce. We got a good one though tonight, right here on this very station. Starting off all with the Murphy Fair show that's going to be happening. Murphy's Picks at 6:15, and then going on at 6:45. It's the Mid-State Checkdown Game of the Week. Fairview at Creekwood, 6:45. Joe Fisher, Greg Pogue on the call for that one. You'll be able to watch that game listen to that game on the station and all the networks with this station. That's our video stream, all that fun stuff. Then after that, once that's done, to get you wrapped up on your Friday football nights, You have Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky going to Mid-State Check Down scoreboard show right after the game. You could call in if you're local to any of these games. If you're at one and you want to talk about something that happened there, you guys take callers for that, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We're also Nashville's only high school football rated R show.
Yeah, it's just Bruno with his shirt off.
That's a good one.
That was legitness.
Yes, it was. That was a good one. But a lot of fun high school football here. Week 2, we're all in it. If you want to jump in, we want to talk to you. The Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Got to take a break. Back after this here on the Afternoon Stretch.
Good afternoon. It's Friday. Give yourself plenty of extra travel time. We see heavy traffic trying to get down through Brentwood, Franklin right now. Pretty much typical for a Friday. Slow go on 65 South at 840. All that traffic trying to sneak down through Spring Hill. It's pretty busy headed out through Wilson County right now. We're looking at it live on 40 East at 840. We see a short delay out in that area just before you get out into Lebanon. Hey, Ripley's is hiring for all 10 attractions. Check them out online this weekend at ripley's.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Paid for by Bar Justice. Attention. Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer after using Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months? The FDA has warned that Zantac and other medications containing heartburn drug, ranitidine, may be contaminated with cancer-causing agent NDMA. Zantac may be linked to these cancers: bladder, colorectal, esophageal, intestinal, kidney, liver, ovarian, pancreatic, stomach, testicular, and uterine. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with cancer after using Zantac or other heartburn medications for several months, call now. 800-516-9931. Never stop taking medication without first consulting a physician. Call right now for a free consultation. You may be owed significant compensation. Call 800-516-9931. 800-516-9931. That's 800-516-9931. 800-516-9931.
Lieutenant, can you tell us what happened today?
Our officers responded to a crash on I-40 westbound this morning. The driver of a pickup truck lost control of the vehicle, veered left, and went into a ditch.
911, what's your emergency?
We've been in a crash. Please send someone. My fiance is hurt.
A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt. She survived without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene.
Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
It's the Afternoon Stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
I gotta tell you something. It's kind of a self-embarrassing story. I'm just hanging out with my mom, and she's watching My 600-Pound Life.
Great show.
The woman was 670 pounds, and her boyfriend, I'm like, no way, looks like me.
The Afternoon Stretch. Afternoon Stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Sports Radio WNSR.
Call in now to the Afternoon Stretch, 615-844-5600, and be the most talented person on the show.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Stretch. Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. If you want to jump in the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. So much to talk about today. It's almost like the Titans kind of even fall to the wayside. They play tomorrow.
Can I just do a little news drop while we're here?
Yeah, why not?
Because it's a fight news drop. So Adesanya's next fight was announced. Israel Adesanya. Probably the best pound-for-pound guy besides Volk right now.
That whole division sucks.
You would think so.
Because he's beat everybody in it.
Except for Pereira.
Yep. Oh, the guy who beat him, right?
The guy who's beaten him twice in kickboxing. Yeah, knocked him out cold. Well, I think it was his last losses was to Pereira back in his old kickboxing world back in the Oceanic scene. So, first of all, I want to say it like an English way, but I have to say it the right way. Pereira. That's the only way I can pronounce it. Pereira, he's a freak. This guy is a freak of nature. He hits super hard. So his last fight was Sean Strickland. It was basically the title contender
Crazy
fight.
person.
Crazy person, but Sean Strickland can go 5 rounds, huge volume, great chin. All of Sean Strickland's fights go 5 rounds because Sean Strickland can't knock anyone out, but he can outscore them, and people can't knock Sean out. Pereira knocked Sean out in the first round. Just clean. It might have been the second, but it was very fast. So Whereas Izzy has gotten away with people kind of trying to play slow. People play into Izzy's game. Pereira's not going to do that. He's going to come for blood. I think this is going to be the Izzy match. I think Izzy's last exciting match was the Paulo Costa match, where he kind of let it swing and bang. But then he's kind of cruised, I guess, what people would criticize against Vittori, against Whitaker again. This is an exciting fight. It's going to be in the Garden, Madison Square Garden, and it's November 12th.
Oh, wow.
So that's the date. Put a date on it. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Really good.
Are we going to get Bruno's bets for that one? Right now, early Bruno's bets.
If Pereira is an underdog, I'm taking him instantly. I really am.
He has to be an underdog in that, right?
Maybe.
I mean, he just simply has to be because...
Adesanya, for what it's worth, he's still undefeated in that division.
Exactly. And the champion. How rude would it be?
It won't be the first time it's happened.
Oh, no, for sure.
There's some crazy things when it comes to odds. Who does Vegas think is going to win?
Yeah.
So Pereira, if I'm lucky, I'm hoping Vegas is like the same thing. Israel Adesanya, he's the champ, whatever. If I can get Pereira at plus 250, what's the fun?
It's just the way you keep saying it.
Because it's the right way to say it.
It's the right way to say it. I don't know why it's funny.
But when
just
you
to
say
hear
Pereira, it doesn't sound right in the American. So I find it easier to just say Pereira the correct way. Pereira. Panera bread. If
I was just waiting for that to happen.
If Adesanya can knock out this Panera bread guy, he proves he's the pound for pound best.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's going to have confidence, too, on the fact that he's already beat Adesanya in another way, but still beat him. I mean, winning is winning. It doesn't matter.
Oh, he has all the confidence in the world. He's like, and it's been fast. I think he's had 3 UFC fights.
Did you see Cejudo just trying to call out McGregor?
No.
That happened a couple days ago.
Poor guy.
He is just throwing everything into the wind.
Cejudo has fought at flyweight, and Connor's probably weighing 180 right now. So
200. Yeah. He's juiced to the gills right now.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He's getting strong.
Did you see USADA in this last card? Paulo Costa fought in this last card against Luke Rockhold. Did you see what they did to Luke?
No.
They blood tested him 6 a.m. on his weigh-in day. So he's already cutting weight, and Paulo's a big guy, so he's probably cut like 30, 40 pounds. They blood test him. Extremely dangerous, like life-threatening. And USADA, they don't. That's the thing. They don't care about health and safety. They just care about trying to play the gotcha game.
Yeah.
So that was a big issue. Dana White has no control over USADA.
Yeah.
But he said it'll never happen again. So people were like, how is he going to follow through on that threat? That was insane that they did that.
Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't hear about it.
No, I didn't hear about that.
That's like, you can kill someone doing something like that. Like, he could just drop dead.
How much would that affect him for the next couple days? It'd be 2 days to the fight.
It's extreme.
Because he was tired in that fight.
Absolutely. I think it affected him immensely. Thank God he was fighting Luke Rockhold. He's probably thinking the same thing. I mean, you've seen it when there's the most recent bad weight cut, I would say, is probably Jose Aldo. They can hardly get their arms up. Could you imagine not being able to lift your arms? That's how little power they have after these weight cuts. So to just direct, you feel lightheaded when you draw blood at a normal weight.
Yeah.
Now cut out all the hydration in your body.
I feel lightheaded just walking up the stairs sometimes. So
I feel lightheaded having to stoop down to your level. And
just sitting here. See, I could have made the joke on you there, and I made it for myself, and then you came back and made another one with me.
Yeah.
It's not. You got to do your own. No. You got to make one about you.
Well, there's nothing really to make fun of.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Really?
We can do a 2-hour show Monday through Friday on
just that. If it's so easy, try it.
No, I'm too nice.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Stupid. Could be that misshapen head you got. That could be something we talk about.
Not true. Very normal head, just large.
That weird beard that keeps growing.
Nothing weird about it.
John Jones coming back in December. Did you guys hear about that?
They've said this about John.
Yes, I tried to switch gears.
They said this about John.
He tweeted it out. He said,
he's done it last year too. So he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for the." I'm pretty sure 2021 was supposed to be his big fight against Miocic, and that just never happened. So until I see a UFC post on date about it, I'm not believing anything John. I'm not believing anything John says at all. You know who John? You know people who lie the most? People like John, who have to constantly lie to the police.
Yeah,
it's just natural for him now.
Let's go to the Cure hotline. I'm wondering if Bob is a little early on the fantasy.
A little.
I think he's a little early trying to get some fantasy help. Maybe he's not going to be able to give us a call. Bob, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I tell you what, I'll just call you back. I follow the rules. I'll call you back after 5. I'll show you.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
I am not a rebel. I'll call back after 5.
No, Bob, you're here now. What's your question? We'll do it for you. You're a long-time listener.
You're just saying I'm old. That's what that means. I'm old. Anyway, so when last we talked, we were all decided that I would take Kamara at 5, which I can do. But I think there's an outside chance. Everybody's down on him. He's not going to go. He's not going to get suspended. I'm going to wait. I'm going to pick Cook or Najee Harris at 5, and I'm going to wait and see if I can get Kamara at 12. What if I could get, 2-star running backs? But my question to you, at pick 28, I could take a decent receiver, or I could take a Kyle Pitts at tight end from Atlanta. Which one? He's more boom than he is bust. Which one would you do? The best receiver available, or take a Kyle Pitts, because Kelsey and Andrews will be gone. This is at pick 28.
Yeah, that's tough.
If Pitts is there, I would say take Pitts, only because I think Pitts is going to get it up to work tempo. Because who else are they going to throw to? London? That's really all Atlanta has is London and Pitts, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, but they're going to get him the ball in unique ways rather than just being straight passing targets. So at 28, Pitts is there.
Ridley is still suspended for gambling, right?
Right.
Yes.
He's out. Yeah, he's out for the year.
You don't have to worry about that.
Hey, I'm glad I didn't get suspended every time I've gambled, right?
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Preaching to the choir, brother.
The Pitts thing, there's the benefit of one. It's the benefit and it's the con in my mind is that Marcus Mariota, his time here in Tennessee, showed us that he can make a tight end very valuable in the world of fantasy. Delaney Walker was huge here for the Tennessee Titans, and Marcus loved throwing to tight ends, so that could work out. The other side that makes me worried about putting my chips in on Pitts this year is just that, Marcus Mariota. If he goes down, gets injured, if they want to try a younger guy coming, if they want to put somebody else in there besides Marcus, and he isn't that quarterback the entire time, you can get that weird back and forth that could downgrade Pitts. So there is a little bit of a risk there. It depends on what wide receiver would be available, but Pitts to me is very much boom bust to me this season. He could be man amongst boys, but he could also be a real detriment to your team this year.
Well, there will be people like, I think Keenan Allen could be there. I know Cortland Sutton would be there. People like that. Keenan
Allen, both of those would be great options in my mind. They have tremendous upside this year.
And you like both of them better than you like. Now, what if Andrews was there? You'd have to take Andrews.
Well, yeah. If one of the four are there, right? If you have your Wallers, Andrews, Kelsey,
Hawkinson.
I've got Pitts at 3.
San Francisco.
I have Pitts number 3.
Yeah, Kittle. If one of those four are there, maybe Hawk. I feel like Ray's.
What about Ray's boy?
Ray's a little too big on Hawk right now, though, because of the Hard Knocks, I think.
No, but what about Ray's real boy?
Oh, Gesicki?
Yeah.
No, he's in trade talks now. It's stupid. He's in trade talks now.
Next Travis Kelce. But no, I
darn you, Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, I can get Hawkinson. I can get Hawkinson in the 6th or 7th round.
Yeah, I think he could be around. He could be somewhere late. Depends on the Hard Knock. Look, the Hard Knocks boom is big though. You can grab Lions might go a little bit sooner just because people are all watching Hard Knocks. They fall in love. That's a real thing.
Hawkins
Every
get a serviceable tight end in waivers though, like a Tyler Higbee kind of like there will be a tight end that just produces okay. What's that white guy from New England?
Hunter Henry,
Bob Burger looking.
Him,
dude.
Jonas Smith. I would get Robert Tonyan. Why do you guys keep sleeping on him? Like,
but see, that's another late round.
Well, see, I'm sleeping on him because I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so he's the only possible red zone target for Aaron Rodgers this year.
Well, but I'm talking about that pick. You wouldn't take Tonyan at that pick.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I probably would take. I mean, if we're
the only one that for me, if one of the four that dropped down to pick 28,
that's the 3rd round, right?
Yeah, it'd be
early
around,
3rd.
If any of those four dropped and you grab them, Pitts is a maybe on that. But after that, you're not grabbing anybody else.
I drafted Pitts in the
earlier
first 4 rounds last year as a rookie, and I won the championship. So there you go, Bob.
Who's the 4th? Kittle.
Kittle, yeah, George Kittle.
He's going to get hurt. We know he's going to get hurt. So, all right. Well, maybe I'll just go receiver. When you get to 28, all the studs are gone. Adams and all those guys are history.
Yeah, but Cortland
Chase Claypool will be on there.
But you have Pittman, you'll have Sutton.
There's a lot.
I mean, there's a ton of wide receivers. I mean,
yeah.
Just don't overdraft whoever you're going after. Like that's the only thing. Don't reach for a player.
I love Cortland Sutton in the 3rd round.
Keenan Allen is there right now. I mean, he's there to be taken because there's a lot of talk that Mike Williams will go ahead of him. Not for me. I think Keenan's. Mike Williams is boom or bust for sure.
Yes.
No, I
All
would
right,
take
fellas,
Keenan Allen.
I will. I'll call you back. I got a draft on Monday, and I'll let you know how it goes. I appreciate your help.
Hey, wanted to hear it. Thanks, Bob. All right, we need to run to a break. If you want to jump in, Cure Hotline wide open, 615-844-5600.
Good afternoon. Quite heavy, actually, out here on the South Loop, the West Loop. It's dragging 24 east across the Solomon Evans Bridge. Busy to the north as it starts to slow down on 75 northbound just before you get to Vietnam Vets. All that traffic headed up into Goodlettsville, Millersville. Just watch your speed. Lots of radar out here through Wilson County this afternoon. We see it a little bit slow over there on 40 East at 840 just outside of Lebanon. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is hiring at all their locations. Check out that menu if you haven't been over there in a while. princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Friday is here, so we got to get you all set up for the final regular season race of the 2022 NASCAR season. It's race number 26 of 36. Up for grabs, $8.3 million. The final 2 playoff spots, and a trophy and some glory. On a 2.5-mile oval, banking up to 31 degrees. Front stretch is 3,800 feet, back stretch 3,000 feet. Cup race, 160 laps for 400 miles. Stages ends on lap 35, 95, and 160. Only one race remains of the NASCAR regular season, and with the breaking news from yesterday, Kurt Busch withdrawing from the playoffs with his concussion-like symptoms, 2 spots now remain to get into the playoffs. Ryan Blaney was already in the top 16 on points without a win by 25. Martin Truex Jr. now slides in on points with Busch out, so if there's no new winner at Daytona, those 2 are locked in as nobody is even close on points. If there is a new winner, that's when things get interesting. They have to be in the top 30 in points, and they will make the playoffs, bumping Ryan or Martin out. Blaney, by the way, is the defending race winner from last year. Check out all the Super Speedway action Saturday night under the lights, Daytona, 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on, and he is going late model racing soon, and he's pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be that nervous about just driving or running well. I just want to finish all the laps. I'll be really, really nervous that I'm going to get wrecked out or I'll wreck the car or not finish the race. Just finishing the race is really my only hope and objective.
You're on the final lap.
Okay, so how crazy high are these gas prices right now, right? I mean, I filled up my car the other day, and I thought for that price, I could buy a couple of pairs of Skechers and pretty much walk everywhere. Plus, unlike gas, not only is Skechers affordable, they also last a really long time. Skechers are extremely durable, and many are machine washable. And they're so comfortable. With comfort features like Skechers' famous air-cooled memory foam, Relax Fit, Wide Fit, Arch Fit, plus so many other fits and features. Find your perfect pair of Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When was the last time you did something fun with family, friends, coworkers, and clients? What if I told you about a place under one roof that offers affordable entertainment for all ages? That's what you'll find at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers in Donaldson, Hermitage, Tusculum, Hendersonville, and Murfreesboro with bowling, games, food, drink, and entertainment for all ages. Enjoy an enhanced experience in Hendersonville or Murfreesboro where they feature additional fun with bumper cars, laser tag, roller skating, and more. All locations are open 7 days a week, including holidays. Visit online at strikeandspare.com. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
Bruno, Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Let's go to the Cure Hotline real quick. We don't have a ton of time. Jason up in Clarksville. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Jason.
What's up, Bruno?
Jason, accept the league invite, first of all. I know you saw it.
Yeah, I might. I'm just already in 3 leagues. So.
Well, make it a 4th, baby.
What do you got for us, Jason?
I was just wondering, for you guys, who are you higher or lower on than like the consensus of what everyone is, like one player for each of you guys?
Higher than lower on. Probably I feel like people are too low on Najee just because of the discourse around him. Like, he's going to he's still going to be a top 10 guy for sure.
I'm lower on him.
Yeah, I know. I know most people are.
I think
I'm lower on him as well.
Right. Higher, I'm really high on DeAndre Swift. That's a running back this year, like in redrafts. I think DeAndre Swift, now that could be Hard Knocks getting me, right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I'm really high on DeAndre Swift. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's worth drafting early just to get him on your team. The Lions are going to be using him a lot, so I really think Swift's going to be a huge piece this year.
Yeah, he's one of the few players I feel like can get 1,000 yards receiving and rushing, honestly.
Absolutely. Hey, Jason, I appreciate you calling in, man.
Appreciate it.
You want to jump in? We want to hear from you. The Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Fantasy Football Friday starts 5 o'clock. First hour's done. Whole second hour coming up. Don't go anywhere.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. The affidavit for the search at former President Trump's Florida estate unsealed today with redactions. It shows concerns over missing classified documents and a lack of security. ABC's Jonathan Carl.
While Donald Trump was president, there was a setup at Mar-a-Lago called a SCIF, which would ensure that material could be viewed and discussed in a way that couldn't be penetrated by people trying to eavesdrop. Well, none of that exists anymore at Mar-a-Lago, and the concern is that this material, highly sensitive material, was stored in an improper way at Mar-a-Lago, where not only Donald Trump would have access to it, but potentially many other people.
Moderna suing Pfizer and BioNTech, accusing the companies of infringing patents on Moderna's mRNA vaccine technology. Pfizer says it's confident in the company's own COVID vaccine development. Large drops by the Wall Street major indexes after the Fed chair signaled inflation hasn't cooled enough to prevent more interest rate hikes. This is ABC News.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
It's been a while since I gave myself a real chance to meet someone new.
Susan and John are two kindred spirits who rediscovered the romance they deserve on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for singles over 50.
John is a massive foodie like me. It's been amazing to experience some of my favorite things again with someone who makes my heart beat faster. I'm so glad I got back out there.
Sign up today at silversingles.com/love. That's silversingles.com/love.
In the wee hours of the night, when everyone else is fast asleep, you're the one on third shift, burning the midnight oil. When a part fails and everything comes to a grinding halt, regardless of what the clock on the wall says, you leap into action. Grainger is with you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support by phone or click to chat. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Greg Pogue back once again to tell you about Bongo Java, Nashville's oldest and most celebrated coffee company, now also located in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Reward yourself for surviving Nashville traffic with fresh, locally roasted coffee, classic handcrafted espresso drinks, and fresh baked goods all day long. And free Wi-Fi, so you don't have to work from home. Number one in customer service. You made it through the traffic. Reward yourself with a perfect pick-me-up at Bongo Java. Fresh coffee, delicious treats, great atmosphere. Open 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. daily. Bongo Java at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
I'm Joe Fisher. Join me for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week. We will be at Creekwood High School on August 26th as Fairview visits Creekwood. It's a 6:45 airtime. Looking forward to some great high school football. Fairview at Creekwood. Greg Pogue will be with me. I look forward to a great broadcast and a wonderful high school football game. 6:45 p.m. is the start on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
Okay, it's happening.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Everybody stay calm. Stay calm.
Let's take some calls from the public, shall we?
Join the afternoon stretch now on the Cure Hotline. 615-844-5600. Now here's Bruno and Zach.
Second hour of the afternoon stretch coming at you here on Nashville Sports Radio. Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams coming to you live from the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. So glad to have you alongside us till 6 o'clock. Then 6:15, the Murphy Fair Show is going to be happening at 6:45. Fairview versus Creekwood. They will be at Creekwood in that matchup. Joe Fisher, Greg Pogue on the call for high school football week 2 right here on Nashville Sports Radio. And then after that will be the Bruno, Reagan, and Ray Dosky experience there with the Mid-State Checkdown scoreboard show, where they will get you all the wrapped up of what's been going on in the high school area for scores, points, all that different stuff happening. So much going on. But 5 o'clock on Fridays, and you know what time it is.
It's time to click your heels together and jump into the land of make-believe, where mediocre high school players who played on mediocre high school teams think they know more than a professional head coach. It's Fantasy Football Friday.
Fantasy Football Fridays. So good to be back into it here on the afternoon stretch. And we have a tremendous guest now with us as well. Love, this season we're going to be getting a lot more actual professionals on. You know, you're always going to be able to call in and ask her any advice, picks and all that. But we're going to outreach more this year with our guests and who's going to be jumping on. And bringing on now, you can follow him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. That is his name, Alex Caruso. He's the host of the Fresh Fantasy Podcast and a content creator for Football Guys. I mean, does a lot with fantasy football, and a great follow there on Twitter. Alex, thank you so much for jumping on short notice, my man.
Oh, happy to be here. I cannot believe the season is less than 2 weeks away, and this is prime time for fantasy football drafts. I'm just happy to help however I can.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just talk about that. Everybody, this is draft time right now. When you go into a draft, a redraft league, obviously, what is it that your goal is for that? Because some people have it as they want the back end of the picks, they want the front end of the picks, maybe they want the middle end, maybe they're crazy. When you look at a redraft, where's your favorite position to be at in those picks?
I like to be at the top. I like to have the first or second or third pick, because I know I'll get either Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, or maybe Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp. I like to have a guy that I can anchor my team around and then build my team off of that.
When you're drafting this year and you're seeing some of this and some of your projections for the NFL season coming up with the fantasy rankings, where do you look at a name and you say, look, I want this guy, or do you play the ADP where you're like, I want this guy, but I'm not going to take him early? Or would you do it the other way around, where if you have a guy that you want to leave the draft with, will you go higher for?
Yeah, I think it goes both ways, because of course you want to look at ADP and try to draft guys around where they're going. But I think we all have guys that we know and we love for fantasy football this year, and especially when you're playing in, a lot of people are playing in home leagues, there are certain guys that I want to come out with every draft in, and those are the guys that we're going to be disappointed if we don't get. So yes, ADP is important, but there's also your guys that you have your gut feelings about, and I always am trying to go get my guys no matter what.
Talking with Alex Caruso here on Fantasy Football Fridays. You can follow him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. Now, with the draft and talking about those guys, who are those guys for you this year? Who are the guys that you're willing to move up a little early for and that you're definitely wanting to be on your squad?
Yeah, I'll give one at each position. My number one at quarterback is definitely Trey Lance. He has the rushing upside, the weapons. Rushing upside QBs have a very high floor with an extremely high ceiling if they throw a lot of touchdowns. At running back, it's Travis Etienne. He's going to be a three-down guy in Jacksonville, going to catch a lot of passes, reunited with his college quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. At wide receiver, it's Allen Robinson. He's the best QB of his career, the best offensive of his career. He's cheaper, and I think he's going to have a career year. And at tight end, I'm going Kyle Pitts. I mean, he almost set a number of records as a rookie and a tight end. He's a generational prospect, and I think he is about to take things to new heights, even with Marcus Mariota.
That was a perfect time for you to say Kyle Pitts there. We had a caller that called in a little bit too early on Fantasy Football Fridays. He called last hour, but he had that same wonder at pick 28. Should he take Kyle Pitts or should he take a wide receiver in a standard league format? What would you have gone there? I guess at pick 28, would you have taken Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, if Michael Pittman was there, I would go for Michael Pittman. But if he was taken in that range, I would be going Kyle Pitts.
So what is it with the just doubling down? I mean, do you have no fear with Marcus Mariota? I mean, we're here in Tennessee, and look, there might not be a bigger MM8 fan out there than me here locally in Nashville. And I believe in the guy. Even though he's MM1 now, he'll always be MM8 in my heart. The fear is the fear is that he can get injured, not play. He could maybe even get benched coming up. The positive side is you look at what he did with tight ends here locally for Tennessee with Delaney Walker. That was a tremendous connection and always felt like a safety blanket for him. So there is upside, obviously, with Kyle Pitts, but I feel like it's a boom-bust kind of grab this year.
Well, you made a great point that he's had a great connection with tight ends in the past. He has actually looked phenomenal in the preseason so far, and Atlanta has 51% of their targets up for grabs this year with Calvin Ridley and a few other guys gone. So outside of Drake London, there's no one else that Kyle Pitts has big competition for targets, and he's going to have no one else to throw to. This defense still isn't good. They're going to be trailing in a lot of games, which means they'll be throwing the ball a lot, and a lot of those passes are going to be going to Kyle Pitts.
We're talking with Alex Caruso. He's the host of the Fresh Fantasy Podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. Bruno Reagan, say hello to Alex Caruso.
Alex, excuse me.
What a terrible time. I mean, right into it to a hiccup. I mean, that's how we're doing that, a hiccup right into the interviews.
Alex, professionalism right here. Just ignore that happened. Now, who is probably your, maybe around if the top 100 players, like around 40 to 50 in the draft, because I'm looking at a guy like Alan Lazard. I'm thinking, I think this guy is going to be, I could sneak him on the back end, and he could be a major contributor. That's where I make my money. That's where I win the championships. If you didn't know, I won the league championship for this very show. So that's always been my strategy. Who's like that back end guy who you're like, oh, this guy is going to absolutely break out?
Yeah, Alan Lazard is actually my guy.
I'm glad we're on the same page. You must be a champion too.
Yeah, and here's the reason why. I mean, I think it's BetUS has the point scoring for this season, and they have the Green Bay Packers projected for the 5th most points. And Aaron Jones can't score all the points. A.J. Dillon can't score all the points. There's going to have to be a wideout to do it. And Aaron Rodgers has said all offseason in training camp, Alan Lazard is about to ascend to the number 1 role. That does not mean he's going to be Devontae Adams, but Alan Lazard is going to have a huge year this year. Rodgers clearly trusts him, and he's a guy that I'm taking in every single fantasy football draft right now.
I want to piggyback off that. Do you feel, I mean, you're confident on Alan Lazard, obviously Sammy Watkins there too. Are you keeping Aaron Rodgers right where he's been already, or are you downgrading him? Are you upgrading him? What are you doing with him?
Yeah, I'm taking him right around like the QB 11 or 12 at this point. I think he's still better than he's going right now. He's going a little bit lower than that in drafts, but I don't necessarily expect him to be the top QB that he has always been after you take out someone like Devontae Adams. So I'm a little skeptical, but it's still Aaron Rodgers. He's been a top 11 QB every single year of his career that he's been healthy.
And listen, I wanted to ask you also about another player, Antonio Gibson. I got baited into drafting this guy early last year. It's really it was just a wasted roster spot, to be honest. This guy had high expectations just because of the way he plays. Then there's criticism that Washington isn't using him right. Is there any hope for kind of a revival of him living up to his fantasy hype, or is that just something we should all put out the back burner going into the season's draft?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a big Antonio Gibson guy, but the hype has completely died out for me. He's been, on the punt team. He's been taking kick returns. It seems like they want Brian Robinson to be their running back 1 now. J.D. McKissick is still there and catch the passes. Antonio Gibson is still going to get work in the running game, but it's going to be a muddled 3-way committee on an offense that's not super great with Carson Wentz. So my expectations for Gibson, unfortunately, are very low for this year.
Talking with Alex Caruso. You can follow him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. Now, Alex, it seems like every year you have there's an offense out there that you just want to have multiple players in, whether it be the QB wide receiver stack or maybe even a couple wide receivers from that team. What's the offense this year? What's going to be like this year's Rams or Tampa Bay from last year? What's the team that you're looking at that you should be taking multiple people from that same team?
Yeah, I think this is going to shock a lot of people, but it's the Lions. I think this Lions offense is ascending. We've seen Jared Goff do it before and be very productive in the previous Rams offense that he was in. I'm a huge believer in Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm a huge believer in DeAndre Swift. I think T.J. Hawkinson is very solid. I think this offense is going to surprise a lot of people in fantasy this year. Their prices are discounted, and they're guys that I'm investing in. And I think they're going to be a lot better than people think.
Now, have you been watching Hard Knocks and you're caught up? Is that what it is?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that's just a silent thing. Everyone's high on the Lions right now.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that happens, Alex. I feel like every year Hard Knocks comes out, and then whatever player they've been watching, they're just ripped into, and they feel like you'll see drafts where talking about this year Lions, last year it was the Raiders, or who was it last year? It was
I
in
think it
Hard
was a
Knocks.
Chargers-Rams combo.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You're right. And then you'll see those players that will jump up a little bit higher in draft boards because people are they're seeing much more behind the making of the team and what they're doing there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think when you started listing off like Amon St. Brown, have you seen that clip of him listing off names like he was Arya Stark from Game of Thrones? Took me an hour this time. So I can get why people are hyped up on it. You see something like that, you get pumped up. I want to ask you something. My favorite discussion is always number one pick. You get the number one pick. Who you picking up? For me, I'm a CMC guy till it's over. Till the fat
till
lady
his legs
sings.
not exist anymore.
Absolutely.
No
till the hamstrings off the bone. I'm a CMC guy. What do you think about this year? Is it Cooper Kupp? What do we got?
I think for me it's still Jonathan Taylor. I am all for anyone that wants to take CMC. I am by no means a CMC hater, but Jonathan Taylor is the safest player in the draft. He is the only player in all of fantasy football this year that has no flaws, no reason not to believe. He was the running back 1 overall last year. And I think he's the easy pick this year that we should expect to be healthy, be productive, and be a guy that you can anchor your team around.
Alex Caruso, our guest. Ray Dosky, say hello to Alex Caruso.
What's up, Alex? How are you, man?
Oh, I'm great. Great to hear your voice, Ray.
Hey, you too, buddy. So I got a question for you. We all talked about the early rounds, right? The first, you up to probably the seventh round. Tell me some late round guys. Tell me the guys that when you're in that 9 to 12 rank, like guys that you might be sleeping on. Like you got Ramon Stevenson, you got Zay Jones. Like who are some guys you're like targeting when it comes to those late rounds when you're trying to facilitate that roster construction?
Yeah, I have 3 guys that I cannot stop drafting in every league right now. Well, the first guy I'm about to name is probably a guy that's going even above that 9th range now after last night. It's Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is the latest 3-down potential workhorse that you can get in the NFL right now. He has no competition for touches in Houston, and his only competition really is Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead. I think he could be a 3-down guy that you can get in the 9th round. Another guy I love in that round is the running back James Cook for the Bills. He's their pass-catching guy. Devin Singletary last year ran the 4th most routes in the NFL. That role is going to go to James Cook, where he could be the number 1 running back, plus getting a ton of targets in one of the best offenses in the league. The last guy that I want to be targeting in every single league is Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers. He's been training with Trey Lance all offseason. They've had an insane connection in camp. Kyle Shanahan himself has said that Brandon Ayuk is the most improved player on the 49ers roster. These are all guys I'm trying to get in the late rounds and hope that they can have a really special season.
Yeah, James Cook is a guy I have my eye on. Tell me a few players that you're fading on this year.
Yeah, a couple guys that I'm fading, and people aren't gonna love this, but the first one for me is DK Metcalf. I think the name value just has him too high. He was already inconsistent without Russell Wilson, and he's going to be even more inconsistent without Drew Lock. DK Metcalf is still a great player. He might finish, but he's going to be very frustrating to own because we're going to see a lot of boom weeks and a lot of bust weeks, and those are not the guys that I want to draft. Another guy that I'm not in on is Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders for the Eagles said himself, do not draft me in fantasy this year. It is just not going to be good. So he's another guy that I'm also not drafting a lot of. And the last guy that I'm not drafting a lot of, and people are going to hate this, but it's Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb, the player. I love Nick Chubb, the talent, but he's never finished higher than the running back 8 in fantasy football. And when you're playing with anywhere from 9 to 15 other humans, you're just not going to get that top 5 upside that you need to win your league championship. It's still possible, but it's a lot tougher if the guy you're drafting in the second round doesn't have top 5 upside.
Are you turning away from him also because of the Deshaun Watson situation, or do you think he's going to get? I mean, because I'm on the other end of that, where I think Nick Chubb is going to get more work because they're not going to be just relying on Jacoby. It's not like Jacoby Brissett's going to come out and just have this, oh, now I figured it out and I'm great at football. They're going to have to rely on their studs.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem with that on the other side of it is Nick Chubb does a lot better. He scores a lot more fantasy points, almost 4 per game in wins and losses. And Jacoby Brissett is going to take this offense down even further. They only averaged 20 points a game last year, And Jacoby Brissett is going to make that offense even worse, which means less positive game scripts for them to give Nick Chubb a lot of touches. You would hope they lean on him, but they can't lean on him if they're losing a lot of games. I think if Watson was playing the whole season, I'd be a little bit higher on Nick Chubb because he has more touchdown upside.
Perfect. I love that. That's a good answer there. Alex Caruso, our guest. You can follow him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. One last. Who is your deepest sleeper pick? Who's the one that you're picking with the very last pick, but you think is going to have some sort of upside this season?
Will Fuller, who is not signed with the team yet. Will Fuller has been very productive as an NFL wide receiver, and if he ends somewhere like Green Bay that needs a number one guy, or maybe Indianapolis or Kansas City or in a really dynamite offense, Will Fuller can do big things this year. Instead of drafting a defense or kicker right now, I'm drafting Will Fuller and hoping that he signs with the team for week one. He is going to rocket up draft boards if he signs anywhere. He's the perfect late-round pick that you can just drop and grab someone else and has a lot of upside if he happens to sign in the next 2 weeks.
Alex, I appreciate you coming on, my man. It was great stuff there. Love to get you on in the future, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You can follow him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. Check out the Fresh Fantasy Podcast. A lot of good stuff there on his Twitter site. A lot of knowledge there from Alex Caruso. Will Fuller, that's one right there where it's like he will be. I'm surprised he's not signed yet, honestly. It makes zero sense, but that could be somebody that you look at those vantage points. And another one I'm going to throw out there that maybe be a little bit riskier is Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown could sneak his way into onto a roster somehow. And if he's on a roster, he's immediately the number one guy on that team. So, yeah, it's there's a lot going on there. We need to run to a break here. If you want to jump in, we want to talk to you. The Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Back after this here on the Afternoon Stretch.
Good afternoon. I'm looking at a crash involving injuries. I-40 westbound at Central Pike over here in Hermitage. It's not slowing down traffic because it's not eastbound. Eastbound's got the heaviest flow headed back towards Wilson County. Again, there is a wreck with injuries over here on the westbound side of I-40 at Central Pike and Hermitage. Yes, it's busy on the south loop, the west loop. It's Friday. You know what to do. Give yourself plenty of extra time. Hey, Ripley's Aquarium in the Smokies is hiring. Check them out at ripleys.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hey guys, it's Zach from the Afternoon Stretch. One of the things I love about betting my favorite sports is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine prop bets from multiple games and now even multiple sports. It's called Same Game Parlay Plus, and you can only find them on FanDuel. Combine your favorite baseball home run hitters for a chance to score an even bigger payout. If you don't want to build your own Same Game Parlay, check out their popular Same Game Parlay section where you can join the bets other users are jumping on. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code TAS to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Make every moment more and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just use promo code TAS so they know that we sent you. 21 up and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Whether it's getting your day started with a clear mind, taking the edge off after a busy day, or hitting the reset button at night, Cure helps us be our most productive selves. Completely organic and free of THC, pesticides, and heavy metals, Cure focuses on specific need states with great tasting CBD products designed to help you focus, chill, and sleep. And that is exactly what the Cure brand products are named. Focus, chill, and sleep. Now available at select MAPCO locations. Visit thecurebrand.com to learn more and follow them on social media.
It's the Bill King Show.
Ken has been so nice. Ken gave me the Georgia commemorative 1980 National Championship Coca-Cola bottle. And that's still hidden in a closet, so nobody can get it. I'm scared one of my kids is going to go in there and see it and try and pop it open and drink it. Seriously, if that happens, I might be in jail.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
The afternoon stretch. The best show. I don't know if I can say that, man. I'm going to move on to the next one.
Welcome back to the afternoon stretch. Bruno, Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Still have any fantasy football questions? It's still Fantasy Football Friday. We have that going on right now. If you want to jump in, 615-844-5600 Cure Hotline. This weekend coming up. You got any big plans coming up, Bruno?
No, I'm scheming. I mean, my life's on the line.
Saturday it is
tomorrow night.
Yeah, so. that's your big plan. Is
I might
Saturday.
have a heart attack. Hope just please go up 21-0 in the first quarter, and I can turn it off.
So for anyone who doesn't know, he's talking about
Vanderbilt,
Hawaii. Which, the best part about this is you don't get it's college football. You're like, 11 a.m. We're going to watch a game early. No.
9:30 p.m.
9:30. You get all Saturday to sit around and just wait and sweat.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning I'll get a little workout or open mat, and then it's the great wait. It's that's what I'm saying. Like I've had jobs where it's to cover Vandy and all that, but it gets me so emotional and nervous. It's just not a place for work for me. Like, just let me sit in a room alone in peace and watch this game.
Yeah, and that's,
I don't know how.
You're not going to be watching it in peace, though, unless they go up. I mean, what's like a safe score for Vanderbilt? If they go
Nothing.
up,
There is no safe score for
70-0.
They
You're
could
like,
set the.
I'm
Remember
nervous.
that TCU Oregon game where they came back from like 33-0? Right. That could happen to Vanderbilt, except 45-0. So I'll watch it, and I'll be advocating for them to just stomp them out the yard.
That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
You're so financially stuck on this too. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's not like it depends. I've never bet over probably $200, and I put $1,000 on Vanderbilt to win 3 games this season. So that'd be really nice to get. If I win, I'll get $2,500 back. $1,000 from my initial bet, $1,500 from the winnings. So that would be it. That's a nice chunk of change. What could you do with $2,500? You know how many McChickens that is?
It's like 2,900, I think, roughly.
That's a lot. That's a lot of food.
So right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, course code TAS, Vanderbilt, Hawaii. The favorites right now are Vanderbilt 9.5.
Really, it's gone up. You know what the line opened as? 6.5. So that just shows the bets are coming in at Vanderbilt. Most people I know have taken Vanderbilt -7. So I think that's really recent where they shot up. Because everyone's going on Vanderbilt. Hawaii is one of the worst FBS programs in the country. They're advertising a sellout. Do you know how many people are going to be there? Like 9,000. So
yeah, it's like a high school field essentially.
It's like a Vanderbilt home game.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the over under on this is 54.5, which
under.
You're on the under at that?
No, don't trust. I'm bad at the unders and overs. Don't trust me on this.
So I'm trying to look. The implied point total of that would be what? That Vanderbilt's going to win
54.
Yeah.
So 34-20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's going to score 34.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really anxious to just see how they perform.
30-20.
We'll
Still
see.
though.
We'll see. I mean, the first 10-yard pass the first pass where he throws it, but it doesn't travel 10 yards and lands on his feet. Just know I'm going to be screaming at my computer.
Well, see, that you bring up a good question here is because what is it you're looking for from Vanderbilt to start off the game? If you're feeling confident in Clark Lee, obviously he feels confident in Mike Wright.
Flip the field. If you get the ball, flip the field. If you're on defense, hold them to a field goal. When I played, every single time the other team got the ball first, touchdown, every time. You know how demoralizing that is? They get the ball. Well, I guess we're going down 7-0. Just keep them to 3 in the first series if you're on defense. If you're on offense, be able to flip the field. If you do that, I'll be happy. But if I see Cockamania can't live up to high school football standards, from these SEC level players, I'm going to lose it. I jumped off sides. You had 3.5 weeks of hell, and you can't follow a snap count? Get off my telly now.
I mean, let's just flash forward to 9:30. Well, I guess really like what I'm going to say, flash forward to like 10:30 tomorrow night. It's the end of the first quarter. The score's 0-0. How nervous are you? Like, because I mean, what are you expecting? If you're expecting a 9-point lead,
expecting them to win by 14. That's what I expect to scan.
14.
I feel like we're gonna be checking on Bruno all like tomorrow night.
Don't call me.
No. By text.
I'm gonna be calling him FaceTime and just constantly just to make him mad.
I won't answer.
No, I think
you can follow my.
So we text you.
You're not
answer?
allowed to talk to me. No, you're not allowed to talk to me.
Is anyone allowed to talk to you?
No. If my dad calls me, I'll
and
answer.
you talk to yourself.
Yes. I'll be in my room. Might have a good buddy come watch me, just make sure I don't do anything crazy. But
is that good buddy going to be Zach?
No, I'm not driving up to Clarksville. No shot.
What kind of friend are you?
No, he's fine.
This is a problem. This is what separates me and Zach. Now we're getting personal. Is I want it. You know, when it comes to things that I want, I go out and get it. Zach could never be like that. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like fantasy football, for example. What's the one thing about fantasy football? How bad you want it.
Yeah. That's the.
How bad do I want Vanderbilt to win? Everything.
So wait, are you saying that the players that you pick up and then you go to play against on the other team, you're like doing something to cause them to lose those games and do bad against your
yeah,
team?
I call them because I'm boys with everybody. I'm like, yo, I need to get off this game. And Michael Carter's like, word, dog, and rushes for 200 yards. Come on.
Bruno's version of going and getting it is sitting
That's
in his
what it
room
sounds like.
quietly crying. It's time to get this bread.
I don't cry. I stretch. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Afternoon stretch. I'm always stretching in my room.
Yeah.
Did you see the other bets are being placed right now?
What's that?
On the Buccaneers. And there's two different bets, and they're
like future bets.
Yeah, like this for this upcoming NFL season.
Okay. Oh, okay. So we're switching gears.
So
okay.
sorry. I just found this odd. Apparently, someone bet $300 on an amount that one person bet on the Bucs to have the fewest wins in the NFL this season.
It's absurd.
So one person bet $300. Do you know what the payout on that is?
What? Hold on. $35,000.
Keep going.
$65,000.
Keep going.
Just a $300 bet, huh?
Just a $300
$250K.
$105K.
Okay.
And someone else.
because that's how ridiculous that would be.
So apparently, $250 was made by another person to bet on the Bucs to have the fewest wins in the NFL this season, and that amount is $112K.
I'm not even going to say
that person betting was.
I'm not going to say
Ridley.
Brom Tady's name. All right, forget he exists. Forget he exists. Mike Evans, that guy's on your team. You're never finishing with less than 5 wins, just with him.
Yeah.
And then add everybody else.
He's had 1,000 yards like every year he's been in the NFL.
Probably the most underrated guy. If Mike Evans could ever be considered underrated, he's underrated.
Yeah, for the respect. I think the respect that he should have in the NFL as well.
Did I trade him in Dynasty? Yes. Do I respect the man? Yes.
There's no way the Bucs. What's the plus on that? If it's 300, it's got to be like plus like 190,000 or something.
Plus 30,000.
Yeah, plus 30,000.
35,000.
That's insane. Is that the lowest one? I wonder on the least wins.
Yeah, apparently, that's been the most active bets as of recent. Is the fact that the Bucs, having the fewest wins this season. I mean, is that possible?
Call the TN Red Line if you bet this, please, for the love of God.
Because
that's something. If I'm telling you to do it, do not do it.
Because who are we thinking is going to have the fewest wins this year? The Falcons, the Jets. Who else?
It's going to be a team we don't expect. 100%.
Really?
Unless
the Washington Commanders.
Unless,
there we go.
No, it's not going to be Washington. They're a sneaky playoff team.
All right? You heard it here first. In the afternoon stretch.
they might.
He's got more confidence in my own team than I do.
There's one team that might follow the expectation as Seattle. I think they could end up genuinely with the last wins, but I don't think it's going to be the Jets. I don't think it's going to be the Houston Texans.
The Bears?
No, I think they're going to actually take a step up. It's going to be someone we don't see coming, and I pray it's the Indianapolis Colts.
Every year.
I would
praise every year.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Whatever blood magic I have to do, I will sacrifice.
You can always.
I can see the Giants.
Yeah.
That's actually
because it's what's the old saying? It doesn't go out with a bang, it goes out with a whisper.
Yeah.
They can just have the most underwhelming season of all time, and then get Daniel
and
out of
Jones
there.
is just out of there.
Saquon, too.
Well, and that's the same. Like for Seattle, it's easy to say Seattle because of the situation they're in, but we've just never seen Pete Carroll do that with a Seattle team. Now he's had Russell Wilson, but
he's gearing up to go a quarterback in himself. Have you seen those clips going around from camp?
Mm-hmm.
He's taking the snap. He's like, by God,
I'll do it.
Wasn't the Steelers
He's
like
just saying it's fine?
Wasn't the Steelers bet wasn't like pretty much like middle? Like
Yeah, it was-
the payout wasn't that great, right?
Yeah, for a winning season.
But
Is
for
what
a
we were
lo-
talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, for a winning
Do you
season.
think them getting their first losing season this year? Do you see it happening?
No, I don't.
You think the streak continues?
I think that I don't think it does. I think
You
they
think it
do.
ends this year?
I think it ends this year. It's too much. You had Big Ben for so long. You had the certain offense for so long, and to change it that much, I think Trubisky's not going to be bad. But I think when I say losing season, I'm not saying they're not going to be drastically under. Like they're just going to get destroyed. I just don't think they're going to have more wins than losses.
I don't think
betting
betting on the system that they're changing an entire system. Ben has been the quarterback for so long. Ben was just doing whatever he wanted out there. So, if anything that's changed, they're just going to follow the system more. They might have more success. Mitch Trubisky might be the MVP.
Okay.
What are the odds on that? Somebody give me.
I can give you that. I mean, it's got. I wonder if. I mean, FanDuel's has it all, obviously, but that's got to be in the crazy tier of.
Yeah, I don't expect you to look it up and find it.
I'm gonna find it. Just fill time while I'm looking it up. Keep telling me more about how you think the Steelers are gonna just run away. I mean, it's a huge loss not having Big Ben. I don't care what you say. Consistency matters more than anything, and that's just one consistent. It's going to be gone.
They've been consistently really. They've had a consistent training camp. They've had a ton of people performing really well.
George Pickens to be one.
They've had a ton of people performing really well. I mean, their backup quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett. Like, there's obviously a recipe for success, and all their guys are ready to play. I don't know.
Rudolph, all those guys.
They haven't lost. They haven't had a losing season in 20 years. What's going to make this like 21? It's just like the Ravens. You and Zach Williams bets. What Bruno's bets? Zach's bets are Tennessee Titans beating the Ravens in a preseason game when they're undefeated for 20 years.
That wasn't an official one. I just did it myself after the show was over.
You mentioned it on the show, though.
Did I mention? I don't know, but it wasn't official for me.
Okay.
If we did that game, yours go crazy.
Okay, so let's say that
your chart goes insane. Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
Trubisky on FanDuel right now plus 7,500.
It's not terrible odds.
You know who's right below him? Literally,
Kenny Pickett.
Ryan Tannehill. Plus 10,000.
Yeah.
And right above him. Do you know who's right above him?
Hold on.
Matt Ryan?
No.
Carson Wentz.
Right under your nose.
Matt Ryan?
No. Derrick Henry. He's sandwiched. Trubisky is sandwiched by Titans right now for MVP odds.
But you thought you laughed at me like Mitch Trubisky shouldn't be in the conversation.
I'm surprised he's more in the. I'm surprised he's more in the conversation than Tannehill.
You just haven't been keeping up with the Steelers camp.
I have. I'm just saying, coming off not playing, I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be MVP, and I don't think the Steelers are going to be bad. I just don't think they're going to have more wins than losses. That's all it is. It's a tough division. It's tough in the AFC also, just in general.
I'm glad you hopped back.
But they still don't finish last in the division.
No, that's what I was saying earlier. I just don't think he's going to have to have a winning season. That's a lot. You're going to say for sure the Bengals or the Ravens are going to have losing seasons then at that point.
No, not necessarily.
One of them have to. I think it's going to.
Unless
there's no way they're
just really strong this year, which they all.
But they're not going to finish last in the division, right? That's pretty much going to be the Browns. Is it safe to say?
We don't know until the fat lady.
I mean, I do. I've been way before it was cool to hate the Browns. I was.
You've upped the ante this year if everything's going on.
If hating the Browns makes you cool, then I'm Miles Davis. That's how long I've been. I've been hating the Browns way before it was cool and popular.
So you say yes, he says no, but do they still third in the division? Is that safe to say? No.
Who, the Steelers?
The Steelers.
I think they are. I think that's in that world. I don't think they're better than the Ravens, and I don't think they're better than the Bengals. Outside of crazy injuries, how are they going to jump up? I just don't see it.
I think them eclipsing the Ravens. I think they'll be second.
I got number 1 Ravens, number 2 Steelers, number 3 Bengals, number 4 Cleveland.
You really think you're really fading the Bengals this year, Bruno? That's surprising.
Just like everybody else did right before they made an insane playoff run. So.
And it wasn't even really that. It wasn't like they were winning like crazy games. They were just, everyone played down to them.
Yeah, I know. No, people forget. But Bruno Reagan doesn't forget. Look at me.
We all know that.
I don't forget.
Just like the Colts, we know you don't forget.
I remember everything. The Bengals were not some all-star team.
Hear that, Colts?
They got hot at the right time. So to just pencil them as number one in the division, idiot! If you're thinking that, idiot! Don't talk to me. I'm going with the historical consistency of the Steelers organization.
You're like Teddy Roosevelt.
Just like me, for real.
Oh, man. That first off, I don't know. Trubisky. Look, if Trubisky wins MVP, I will eat your underwear live on the show. We'll have it for a meal.
All
All right.
So Matt Ryan's numbers have to be a little better than that, right?
Worse.
Because he's already won an MVP.
Worse.
They have to be worse than Mitchell
Ryan's
Trubisky?
probably plus 15K.
No way.
Look that up. 100%.
Matt Ryan
Plus 15,000
is better odds. Plus 4,000.
He's a former MVP player.
And he's also I saw enough when I saw Matt Ryan walking around the hood. You remember that video?
That was hilarious. That was awesome. They loved him.
It was hilarious, but man, that guy is so awkward.
What about your Jacksonville Jaguars? Because you're thinking they're going to be the Bengals this year.
Where does that come from?
Did you say they were going to be the Bengals this year?
I said
you're talking about the second year. Yeah.
Did
he not say that?
He said that. He actually, you quoted him verbatim.
No. I said if there's a team that has a chance to do that, it would probably be the Jaguars.
So what's Trevor Lawrence
I said
on that?
They have a lot more similarities from where the Bengals were last year to this year for the Jaguars.
Hence your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Zach was a DB in
This is just lying.
Zach was a
That's
DB.
not lying. That's from your
This is
It's
pure-
recorded.
Look, I've got CTE to my right and I've got idiot to my left over here. All right, that's what's happening.
Zach, get on the camera, get in your
zoom you
defensive
in?
back
Do we zoom you
stance,
in?
hit the back pedal, hit the back pedal, hit the back pedal, because that's all you do.
No, there's no backpedaling here. All
I'm
right.
zooming
If you're
you
going to
in.
make a stance, stand tall. 10
No,
toes
there
down.
was no stance there. I just said
6 feet under behind you. Right there. off the cliff.
conversation we were having about that was based on the idea a team that goes from zero to hero, basically. If anyone had a chance for it, the Jaguars do. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen. But I never. There's similarities between them. A lot of similarities. Y'all are just lying. This is another terrible taste of media spinning things to get ratings. That's all this was.
No,
this
it's
was
not.
a got you moment that y'all been planning for
No,
weeks.
absolutely
That's your
not.
Jaguars. You said it yourself.
First of all,
Who said my Jaguars? I've never
and
said
it's
that.
It's not some spin piece to get ratings. It's a hit piece to try and get you out the business because you have no business being behind that mic saying these things.
What's Bruno's bets right now?
I don't know.
It's way off the reservation.
There's a reason why we don't count it. Why would I count it?
Well, the good thing is you'll be getting out of the business pretty soon because Vandy might lose to Hawaii, and then we'll everybody be like, what happened to Bruno? Come Monday.
I'm living under an alias. Started a new life. I go to a real college, Oxford.
All right, we need to run to a break. If you want to jump in, final segment, the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600.
Good afternoon. They're working a couple of wrecks. One in the Brentwood area. It's being moved right now on 65 southbound just past OHB as you head down through that section of Williamson County. It's still slow in Williamson County as a clear wreck on 840 eastbound right at I-65. I can still see a pretty good delay in that area again in the Spring Hill. Hey, Ripley's is hiring for all 10 attractions. Check them out this weekend at ripley's.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
It's a scorcher out there, but we've got tips that'll keep you chilling this August. Tip number 1, keep your AC in peak condition. Tip number 2, drink lots of fluids. Tip number 3, go for refreshing top prizes up to a cool $1 million by playing all new August Insta games from the Tennessee Lottery. All of these exhilarating games can lead to cold hard cash. So head to the shade of your nearest Tennessee Lottery retailer and enjoy some game-changing fun today.
Only from the Tennessee Lottery. Please play responsibly.
From scholarship and grant programs to providing students with the qualifications and certifications they need to start their professional careers, the Tennessee Lottery has awarded more than $6.5 billion in funding to education programs, and we're proud to play our part. See for yourself how all of the fun of the Tennessee Lottery goes to supporting someone's future and a brighter tomorrow at tnlottery.com.
Hi, I'm Carson Kressley. Of all the most valuable resources in the world, kindness is the most precious. For more than 140 years, American Humane has been working to make the world a kinder place for animals. rescuing those caught in disasters, protecting animals on our farms, on the silver screen, and the world's remarkable and endangered species who need our care to help them survive. All of us can make a difference by making humane choices at the supermarket, in our choice of entertainment, and by supporting conservation and rescue efforts. It's not hard at all. Make being kind a lifestyle choice and visit AmericanHumane.org for simple ways you can help build a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for animals and for all of us.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Your exclusive national sports radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. This afternoon, sunshine with a shower of thunderstorm in spots, a high 90. Slightest chance for a thunderstorm this evening, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 70. Saturday, partly sunny with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Renault.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Follow the afternoon stretch on Twitter at Bruno Reagan and Zachariah W. Really, man? You want that? I'm not spelling that out.
Final segment of the afternoon stretch. Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky, Zach Williams here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. If you want to get involved, the Cure Hotline wide open, 615-844-5600. 6:15, we got the Murphy Fair Show. Murphy's Picks coming up. That'll be talking all the high school picks here in the area. That's going to lead you into 645 Fairview at Creekwood. That will be a good one. Joe Fisher, Greg Pogue on the call for that for the Mid-State Checkdown Game of the Week. And then after that wraps up, to get you all of your wrap-up on Friday Night Lights action, the Mid-State Checkdown Scoreboard Show. Bruno Reagan, Ray Dosky will be here inside the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio late into the night tonight to get you all your scores. And if you've been involved in any of those games, if you're out there and maybe you saw them or you watched them or whatever it is, call in. Maybe you're a reporter that's just listening right now. Jump in on that and let us know how your game that you were at went on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. A lot of fun stuff there tonight. A lot of high school football action going on here on Nashville Sports Radio. Bruno Reagan and I have a quest to learn every day of the year all the history that happens here in sports. So we have to look at what happened today, August 26th, in sports.
Today in sports history.
We always start with the very beginning. 1896. Not as far back as some.
It's always golf or an Olympic sport.
Wrong on this one. U.S. National Championship men's tennis.
Olympic sport.
Yeah, it was. I saw tennis first, and I didn't read the rest of it before I said wrong.
Idiot.
Robert Wren beats Fred Hovey 7-5, 3-6, 6-0, 1-6, 6-1 for his third U.S. singles title.
It's crazy to me just how bad you want to see me fall.
Actually, no, you're wrong. That's not Olympics. That's just a U.S. National Championship.
But tennis is an Olympic sport. I said it's either golf or an Olympic sport.
Tennis is not an Olympic sport.
Yes, it is. It 100% is.
It is?
Yes.
No, that's not. That's an Olympic sport, but it wasn't the Olympics. So you were wrong.
What does that even mean? No,
even
I
if
said
it's
it
an
was
Olympic sport,
sport,
but it wasn't the Olympics. So you're wrong. Ha ha! Gotcha.
No, you're not.
I win that one. Whatever. Let's move on. There's a lot of apparently tennis happened like every year this time frame on this day. 1930, Chicago Cubs Hack Wilson hits his 44th home run, breaks Chuck Klein's NL record.
These guys were
get a lot of baseball
masons at the same time while playing.
Let's see. 1971, MLB Baltimore Orioles Don Buford struck out 5 times in a game. You know how bad you got to be strike out 5 times in one game, getting the golden sombrero and then some. You don't want to do that. It's not fun.
Is that like a thing in baseball?
Yes, it is, and it's not good. You don't want to have that. That's a bad day at the office.
I feel
Is
like
what
that's
they.
normal. I thought it was normal to struggle
In one game, strike out that much? No, that's not good. You could make contact and get out. That's different. But getting struck out is going up there 5 times and just getting dealt with in that day. You'll get put down for a couple days after that for sure. 1971, Bobby Orr signs a 5-year contract with the Boston Bruins worth $1 million. The first $1 million contract in NHL history. Isn't that so funny how far we've come in the world of sports?
I always worry about the next, 40, 50 years when we're going to get the $50 billion contracts eventually.
I mean, it's going to happen, right?
I'm making $100K, and I'm like, I finally did it, but it's worth like 20 grand.
You're living in government housing. I mean, 1971, $1 million, the highest paid. What's the highest paid hockey player right now? I mean, it's not a crazy amount compared to what that was in 71. Hockey just still hasn't hit that crazy number yet of contracts and money so far. We'll see if it ever changes. I don't know. I imagine it will, but I guess it's just popularity in the sport maybe. Yeah. It just has to change in that way. 1985, Baltimore
Excuse me. I wanted to add to that.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to You're exactly right. This is as of May 11, 2022. Connor McDavid.
Yeah, McDavid.
Yeah, from the Oilers, making $16 million. That's it.
Yeah, that's not a crazy.
That is not a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not. Oh my gosh. Let's see. 1990, Bo Jackson hits 4th of 4 consecutive home runs. Bo Jackson.
Is that impressive?
That's very, yeah. If you hit a home run every day for 4 days straight, that's really impressive.
And make it look easy like he did.
Yes.
Like he makes it look so easy.
Played for my Kansas City Royals back in his heyday. Obviously went to the White Sox too.
That's the only reason why I have a sweet spot for your team.
Mm-hmm.
Because of Bo.
I mean, that guy would have been in the Hall of Fame for baseball and football.
Both sports. 2 sports.
If he never gets injured, that would have for sure happened. And I still think there's an argument that you can make for football that he could be in for football because of his impact to the game.
Yeah, you can't tell the story. Can you tell the story of football with or without him? That's my Hall of Fame criteria.
Is he in it now? He actually might already be in it now. And
I don't believe he is.
Is he in the baseball one?
No, he's definitely not in that.
I don't believe Bo Jackson's a Hall of Famer.
I don't think he is. Yeah, he's not.
He's like on the precipice. Like he's always like in the argument that he should be involved in. He should be in it. Because, I mean, the guy just he revolutionized the running back position.
He's in the college football Hall of Fame,
he is in
though.
that.
Yeah, Heisman, all that good
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah, there's just no way, though, that if he gets injured, he for sure is in both of them because he was so dominant all the way across the board in baseball and football. And it's crazy because we're getting so far away from that I feel like our generation is like the last of that, but this new, the Gen Zers and the Gen whatever they are now, that ends up growing up and getting into sports, they're going to forget guys like Bo Jackson. That's going to fall 100 years from now. Nobody's going to remember it. Yeah. That's crazy. That's sad. It's a sad truth. Let's see here. Getting up to more recent days. This is one right here. I don't think this one was meant to be on here. It's always fun to see this happen. 2014, Burger King agrees to purchase Canadian donut chain Tim Hortons for $11.4 billion. How did that sneak in there?
Yeah, how did Burger King get $11 billion?
I'm guessing because Tim Horton and hockey, that has to be somewhere in there. 2016, this is the one that I wanted to get to today. Could you guess what happened on 2016, August 26th?
What sport?
In the NFL?
Okay.
This was a big cultural moment. Probably the biggest.
Oh. No, it couldn't have been. I was going to guess the knee, but they're no.
What knee?
Colin Kaepernick? It was?
San Francisco 49ers, Colin Kaepernick kneels in protest during the U.S. national anthem at San Diego's Qualcomm Stadium while playing against the San Diego Chargers, objecting to racial injustice and police brutality in the U.S.
You see that, guys? Not only am I a fantasy football and betting sharp, but I'm also a great
football
player.
historian.
I'm a trivia player. So if there's any restaurant trivia days, hit me up. Let's do a deal.
Fair to say that's probably one of the biggest cultural things happen, right?
And then he released that documentary, and that
took everything away. Everything that he had been fighting for when he released. I wonder because that thing you talk about something that came out and nobody we talked about as a joke. You know what I mean? Like, it was a joke. It really was, and he made it to be serious and then completely forgot about. Yeah. And then also, he's not on a roster right now, which he said he was down to go anywhere, and clearly, I mean, he's done. There's no way he's getting back. If he
cashed in, Nike gave him, I'm sure, X amount of dollars, and that was the price he paid for blackballing himself out of the NFL. Let's call it what it was. He blackballed himself out of the NFL, and he knew what he was doing. So, another
birth of a re-energizing to a sport that happened on this day in 2018. Do you have any guess what that could be? Because if I said what the sport was, you would instantly be like, yes, I know exactly what this is. I'll say, okay, it's boxing. What happened on this day in 2018?
Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, they sell 4 million pay-per-views.
No.
Oh, come on. Whatever.
YouTubers KSI and Logan Paul ends in a draw.
Are you sure? I think today's the anniversary of Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
No, it's around this time, but it's not today.
Okay.
Not today. But YouTuber boxing fighting. That's the big thing now that we see it all over the place. See it everywhere. Look at Jake Paul.
Seen a fight recently.
Yeah, we were supposed to see Jake Paul recently, and then that whole thing's turned into a real debacle. The most recent of all this is 2020 Milwaukee Bucks forfeit their NBA playoff game after the shooting of Jacob Blake. So that was another
I'm
terrible
surprised it's
one
not
there.
on there. No, 5 years ago today, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor boxed.
On today, August 26th?
6 hours ago, ESPN Ringside. Twitter account, official, verified. 5 years ago today, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor boxed.
I'm surprised that isn't on here.
Sold 4 million pay-per-views.
That was a big thing. That launched Conor McGregor. There you go. Yeah. I'm surprised. That one should have been on here. What year was that?
So 5 years ago from today was 2017.
So 2017. Yeah, 2017 they have Manchester City scores 2-1 against Bournemouth.
Wow. Website.
That one dropped the ball on that one for sure. All right, we're done for today. Thank you to all who called in, commented in, watched in, however you did. Got a lot of high school football action coming up. Bruno and Ray are going to return after the Mid-State Checkdown game of the week. Joe Fisher, Greg Pogue, there, Fairview, and
Cheekwood.
Yeah, there you go. Happening right here on Creekwood. Yeah,
sorry, Creekwood. Sorry.
So he did that for 2 hours before the show. I thought it was a joke.
Sorry. Just a funny one there. Everybody, have a great week and see you Monday.